Hello and welcome to Supercharge your AI workflows with a unified storage platform. Today's webinar is sponsored by Nutanix and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we have a few housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you. So we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. We won't be able to do a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this one, but we will pass along any questions that you have to the team for follow-up. The Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know there in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to several of those from Nutanix, including an IDC report on the business value of NUS, a link to take a test drive with Nutanix Unified Storage, and a PeerSpot report on unleashing your storage potential. So I encourage you to access those resources now or throughout the webinar and share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for that prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Okay, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's fantastic session. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. We have Sean Donahue, who's an evangelist at Nutanix, and we have Tuhina Goyal, who's Director of Product Marketing at Nutanix. Sean, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm super excited to be here today as we talk about supercharging your AI workflows with a unified storage platform. But I'm even more excited about who's joining me today. One of the smartest people I know, Tuhina Goyal from Product Marketing here at Nutanix, who focuses on storage. As we say in Boston, she's wicked smart, and I can't wait to have a conversation with her about this. But to get started, for those of you out on the ether who may not be familiar with Nutanix as well as I am, let me give you just a quick introduction to who we are. Nutanix really is a platform that provides simplicity, choice, and flexibility when managing on-prem and cloud operations. We're demonstrating that customers can set up once and seamlessly adapt their operational model as their businesses evolve. And we've proven this over and over again by having an industry-leading Net Promoter Score of greater than 90. And this really talks to the dedication and devotion that we have with our customers and from our customers. But let's get right into it today. What we're talking about here is that AI and ML with a organized storage solution. And this is so critical. What is AI and what is ML? You may be familiar with them. They're all the buzz. It's been catching all the headlines. You can't wake up in the morning without hearing something about AI. But what's funny to me about AI and ML is it's been around for over 50 years, but it's only recently becoming the storefront or that emerging tech. And at its core, AI is about that development of computer systems and software that can perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence. Not me, of course, but maybe Tuhina. Human intelligence, and then apply that knowledge to learn and solve problems and make those decisions. And AI really lives on and thrives on that large-scale compute. And we'll talk some more about this. But it also relies on the data and the models that drive it, that it feeds off of. I like to say that artificial intelligence approaches data like I approach an all-you-can-eat buffet. It just constantly consuming, and then uses that data to learn and generate those answers for you. And that's where we're going today. And that's why this is so important and why so many enterprises are looking to adopt an AI solution of their own. But why is ChatGPT becoming so popular? And what is GPT in the first place? And this is that generative AI that I talked about hitting the mainstream. And it was just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, in late 2022. You may remember where you were when ChatGPT broke through and became part of our culture and really became part of an everyday conversation. And it really transformed everything for us. And we go back and it, had its origin with Google in 98, and it was a search bot that we all typed into, and we got, links that we had to then research to get the actual answers. Now with ChatGPT or generative pre-trained transformers, we're typing our questions into the query box in natural language, and we're getting the answers directly. Now, we're still kind of in the early stages, and there are still issues to work out, like AI hallucinations, maybe a new term for you, where the AI, the artificial intelligence, actually makes up the answers where it thinks it's right. And that's something I've done my entire life. Security, privacy concerns still may be top of mind for you. And those are some things that we're going to dig into today. But before we get into that, like I was saying, AI, when we apply it to businesses and move forward and really get those gains in efficiencies, that's what we want to focus on here today. So with that, what is ChatGPT? And like I said before, the actual acronym, it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative, meaning it has the ability to generate answers based on the context given. That's the query or the inference that you type in. Pre-trained, that's where I want to focus some of our attention today. Pre-trained meaning that it was trained ahead of time with certain data sets for certain purposes. We're going to start throwing around the acronym LLM, which is large language models. And that's the data I was talking about. And yes, the security of that data is paramount, but managing that data and organizing that data is also critical for us to understand. And then lastly, that T, the GPT, is for transformer, and that's the specific kind of AI model. Yes, it was developed by Google around 2017. And as the title of the paper was, Attention is All You Need. That's the origins of where we're going back. If you want to go back even further than that, you can read the essays by Alan Turing about, computer intelligence and smart computing. So this is where we're getting to. And don't forget ChatGPT. You're probably sitting out there saying, well, ChatGPT is all over the place. Everybody's using ChatGPT. I've used ChatGPT. And millions of users are agreeing with you on that because look at this. It's an unprecedented just speed to adoption. If we look at some of the other most popular services that have gone to 1 million users, we look at things like Netflix, we look at things like Kickstarter, which took Netflix 3.5 years to get to 1 million concurrent users. It took ChatGPT 5 days to get to 1 million users. And that excitement and that momentum is real, and it's skyrocketing. And it's gone even further and further than that. What's interesting about that, though, I'm going to go off script here, is that ChatGPT has actually started to minimally start to decline in the daily number of users that are using it. That doesn't mean that people are getting tired with ChatGPT or the idea and the functionality of AI. What it really speaks to is that there are more players out there in the AI ecosystem. And Microsoft has released their own AI functionality with Copilot. And there's more and more players coming out. So that's what that reference is as far as that small little tick down that I referred to. But here's one of the things that I struggle with, and a lot of people struggle with when we start talking about artificial intelligence. We can be starting with, where can I use AI? Now, AI could seem like it has limitless potential and limitless use cases. When I look at AI, I look at it and I see myself, a 14-year-old version of myself who thought he could do everything. There wasn't a musical instrument that I wouldn't try. There wasn't a sport that I wouldn't try. I thought that I could apply my talents to everything. And what happened is I got distracted and I didn't focus on a single thing. Therefore, I didn't succeed at a single thing. So that's where AI can cause or can be at a crossroads for you. Where are we going to use it in our enterprise? What is the use case that is going to drive the most value for us in the fastest return to that value? Now, there's a lot of use cases out there. I'm just showing you quite a few of them across all of those verticals. And we could look at those AI bots. Those, of course, are insanely popular. Document search and analysis. That is a huge, huge category or bucket of use cases there. One that I really am excited about too is the code co-piloting. And this isn't just a net new generation of code. We can be talking about actually updating and modernizing code that we've been running in our enterprise since the days of mainframe. Those developers just don't exist anymore. And the younger developers may not be familiar with those languages. So using AI to interpret and update that code is a huge, huge use case. And then fraud, theft, detection, loss prevention. Think automated scanners at a retail environment and what's being scanned, what's not being scanned. Automated inventory management based on those items that are being scanned. Pharma healthcare, holy cow, talk about a use case opportunity there. I'm working with Lenovo and a joint customer that we have, and I'm not afraid to say it, not bashful in any way. I've met these folks over in Kazakhstan. The Ministry of Health is using artificial intelligence and using image recognition to increase the accuracy and the detection rate of cancer in patients exponentially. That's bringing real value to people's lives almost immediately. And then the use cases, again, they cross verticals. We talked about retail and edge. You can talk about FinServe, portfolio management and optimization, and the federal environment as well with simulations and digital twins. But my point here is that the number of use cases can seem overwhelming. And when enterprises look to adopt artificial intelligence, they need to focus in on the use cases that will bring them the most value. I would even recommend running workshops in your environment to actually workshop out what use cases you want to focus on, and then choose a number of those use cases, maybe 3, that you want to test out during a proof of concept. Don't try to boil the ocean. Take a pragmatic approach to it and choose the use cases that will bring the most value to you, and get the input of your stakeholders as well. Again, number of use cases could be limitless though, but you do definitely want to choose the use cases that are right for you, which brings me to this. Some of the most common use cases that we hear from our customers fall into these 3 buckets or these 3 categories. Now, in all the conversations that we're having with customers and prospects, this is the trend that we're seeing. Again, that private chat GPT with your documents and data. And that's what I want. That's what I'm so excited to welcome Tahina to the virtual stage to talk about, is actually getting those LLMs tuned and trained with your own data sets itself, and then optimizing them and protecting them. So delivering that conversational chat GPT like experience that we expect, but it's actually trained on your data. These aren't generic answers anymore. And these aren't hallucinations, which is when it's giving you the false answers, because you're training it with your data. So augmenting those LLMs, those billions of parameters that they have, with data that is specific to your organization. And I talked about the code copilot already, that AI code generation and AI content drafting, drastically reducing time. If we're talking about a 20 to 40% increase in productivity for those employees, think about all the other things they can conquer. Think about all the other things that they can do. And then, of course, machine learning science and build and train and tune, most efficient operational model, and accelerate that time to value for your ML teams. These are the three buckets that we're seeing growing as a trend across our customers. But speaking of our customers, what are our customers telling us? And this is an important one too. If you're checking Twitter or Facebook, LinkedIn, come back to the screen for a second, because I want to tell you what our customers are telling us as far as where they want to start. And when we speak to those customers, we often hear three things. I don't know where to start. My company IP and data privacy are paramount concerns, and I need help to get a successful solution running. And that's where Nutanix comes in. And I'm going to introduce you to something that we have released a while ago. We actually have announced an update to it at our recent event, Nutanix.next. But that's those three things I want to keep in mind here. I don't know where to start. My company data is really paramount. I'm really worried about leakage and security of my data, my intellectual property. And then, hey, listen, I need help to get this thing up and running, even choosing the use cases themselves. And when I look at this, I look at it in, again, three areas where to start. And the three potential paths that you could take to get your AI solution up and running. Path number one, build your own. That is difficult because you're looking at a very complicated environment with many dependencies and vendors. And you could be looking at it saying, you know, I got spare hardwares in the storage closet. I'm just going to slap all this together and duct tape and binding wire and build my own AI solution. Well, you know, you can try that, but it is very complicated, and there are so many dependencies, and the expertise to do that is very challenging. Or I know, I'm going to go the public cloud route for my AI deployment. And that seems to be the easiest way to do it. Yeah, okay, it's easy, but it exposes your company IP and privacy and the data that you hold so valuable and cherished to the public cloud. There's articles coming out all the time. I won't name anybody specifically, but there are instances where data leakage can occur. And I want to just drill into that for 1 second. And I know I'm stepping into Tahina's environment here, and I'm not going to get that far because she's such a rock star. But if you think about it, if you're exposing your company's private data to a cloud environment that's hosting their own AI solution, it's based on the permissions of the data that you have set. And if you hired an admin like I was back in the 90s, and I thought it was easy just to apply full rights to everybody in the organization, that can be a problem. And if we don't have a solid management and solid control of that, that can really become a problem. So the better solution that I want to encourage you to look at is that full stack solution, that turnkey full stack solution for AI. That's where you want to be. And who's going to deliver that to you? I'm glad you asked. Nutanix came out with the GPT in a box. And as you can see in this diagram on the left-hand side of the screen, this is an opinionated stack that is a full solution for your artificial intelligence. It starts with those GPU-enabled nodes, those high-end compute hardware that we need to actually process all of this in a speedy time. And then, of course, our operating system is a key component to that. AHV, the hypervisor, another key component. I want to focus just a little bit here on Kubernetes and Nutanix's Kubernetes play, because that is how you're going to want to deploy your artificial intelligence solution, but also those LLMs, those models. It's the quickest way, the fastest way that you can deploy these specific pieces of your AI solution with the least number of dependencies and get this stuff out there faster, much faster than VMs, without all those dependencies and without the bloat of those VMs either. And then, Kubeflow and then the LLMs themselves, that's something else that we believe strongly in, is the bring your own model approach to LLMs. So you can bring your own model there as well. And then that inferencing app. But I really want to dig in here and focus in on that big teal box that we have, because this is what's allowing me to bring the subject matter expert that I have with us today, that Nutanix Unified Storage piece of it. Boom. That is a huge piece of an AI solution, and that's a huge piece of the GPT in a box solution that Nutanix has delivered and rolled out. You can look at more. We'll even, by attending this webinar, you qualify for a free email. And in that email will be a list of resources that will give you more information about this GPT in a box. But like I said, Nutanix Unified Storage is a critical and big piece of that solution. But don't take it from me, because I want to welcome to the virtual stage my good friend and somebody I admire so much, Tahina, to talk to us about the data story. That it's a story about data. And Tahina, I want to bring you to that virtual stage with a question, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why does AI require such large amounts of data? And follow-up two-part question here. And what are the risks of not making your data strategy a top priority in your AI project?
Yeah. I mean, first off, thank you for a wonderful introduction for myself, as well as setting the stage for AI ML and how we, deliver GPT in a box and so much more. So going back to your question, I mean, you've already covered how data is really the cornerstone of modern enterprises, right? We've all heard about the exponential explosion of unstructured data, such as audios, videos, all your social media feed, the data that's generated by IoT devices and sensors and connected devices on edge points. All of this and more constitutes unstructured data. And this is driving significant impact across different industries, as you talked about. So if you move on, you see this amazing figure, right? This is actually the amount of data that's being created every single day. I mean, and this number is going to increase, with every single day passing on, the amount of data being generated is just increasing. So to put things into perspective, this is almost like 1 followed by 18 zeros. That's how big an exabyte is, right? So I literally had to Google how big an exabyte is to just put things into perspective. The key here is that the surge of all this data and information is a good news for trends like AI, which hinges on a rich data environment, right? So that's why we say that data is really the training fuel for AI. And that's why it's really important to make sure how do you store, manage, mine this data and build models which are really niche and fine-tuned. So moving on to talk about, how do we deliver this platform for data management and data storage, right? So if you've been an existing Nutanix customer, you already know that we've pioneered hyperconvergence back in the day by integrating compute, storage, and networking into a single software stack. And now we are taking this unique position to bring together all the unstructured data on unified software-defined platform that we call Nutanix Unified Storage, or NUS, or NUS. So you'll see me using this acronym NUS or NUS quite a bit during the presentation today. But what it really does is that, as I said, it's truly software-defined. It's a data platform that simplifies storage as well as management operations by consolidating all your silos of block, file, and object services or object data into a single platform. Being software defined is very important, and that's why I keep emphasizing on it. Being software defined means that it is extremely simple to deploy, to provision storage, to manage, to consume, and upgrade. And this has to be table stakes, right? We are talking about data. Nobody wants to spend time in managing infrastructure. So we make it so simple and transparent for our customers so that they can focus on really building these AI applications, building the models that they need, and just take care of the storage really easily. Another hallmark, as you very importantly called out, is security, right? So it's one of our key differentiators for the NUS platform, and it is very important when it comes to protecting not only your data, but also your proprietary models. So just imagine that you've trained your model with your context, with your own data. You don't want the model to be stolen. You don't want the data to be poisoned. So security is definitely an important aspect of it. So if you click, I want to dive a little bit more into data security, as you see here. I mean, if you go back, actually, there's a piece on data security, which is data lens. Yes, that's it, which says anti-ransomware analytics and audit trails, right? So for the unified storage platform, security is not an afterthought. It's really built into the architecture from the ground up. And Nutanix Data Lens really provides that service that looks into that data that's stored on the platform. It protects it. It helps with preemptively detecting, alerting, monitoring ransomware attacks, malware attacks, and insider threats. So that's the key. Another key point here that I want to point out before we move on is scalability. So scalability is a very important factor to plan for when you're onboarding AI/ML applications. But having said that, AI project starts off very small sometimes, right? And you don't want to spend a lot of money upfront in a multi-petabyte solution. So you want the flexibility to start small and just add capacity, add more storage as you are ingesting more data or as you're processing more data. So with Unified Storage Platform, we provide that scalability to our customers. We provide the flexibility to consume bite-sized infrastructure is what I call, where you can start as small as 1 tip and then you can scale out without elaborate planning, without any upfront CapEx commitment into multi-petabyte environments. All right, moving on to the next slide. I think it's very important to understand that, we talked about storing the data, right? Now let's talk about managing the data globally, right? There's a very well-known saying in our world these days, which is data center is no longer the center of data, right? Which means that your data is coming from multiple sources. Your AI ML workflows are not deployed in a silo. You might have some data available in the data center, but there are good chances that some of this data is stored and processed at the edge or at other collection sites. It's bursted into the cloud for processing. So in general, you can see that it's a very connected environment. So the key here is global data management and orchestration, right? So you need a platform that provides you common operating model, a standardized set of tools that can help you manage your data as it traverses across these different locations from the edge to the core to hybrid multi-clouds, right? And then at the same time, deliver services like data synchronization, data protection, and data replication, all managed through a single pane of glass so that you have the visibility of where your data is at any point in time. So that's very critical. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about, storage is not a new subject. It's been around even before I was born, right? So it's a very old construct of infrastructure, but we have to start rethinking storage when we talk about AI/ML or some of these modern applications, right? So the next generation, that's what I call, right? The next generation of data platforms will be defined by key characteristics such as scale, performance, and portability. And of course, we have to keep the cost angle in sight as well, right? The absence of any of these attributes will compromise the accuracy of the outcomes derived from any AI-powered experience. I've already touched upon scale. So I think, as I said, it's very important to manage capacity to manage scale, you need that flexibility. And NUS delivers that linear scale of capacity and performance, which means that as you add more storage, as you add more capacity, your performance will not take a hit. So overall, you will see performance improvements when you're actually adding more capacity. That's a very unique piece when we say scale out, right? Don't take performance for granted. It should improve. And then performance, I already talked about that, right? So we always say that low latency and high I/O, right? These are the two terms to characterize high performance, are most important to ensure high speed, accuracy, and reliability of your AI apps. So take a simple example. What does high speed mean? It means that your chatbots are able to give you responses in much smaller time, in reduced times, right? It's almost like we are talking milliseconds or even less than that, right? So it's very fast. And then portability, as I said, is right. Your AML can be, a model can be stored anywhere. Your data can come from anywhere. So you need that platform to give you replication that will replicate your data from one location to another location. It will help with seamless data consolidation from multiple sites. And it will also help you with kind of moving your data out to the public cloud for training and more like data intensive and compute intensive operations. All right, moving on. So I think just reiterating what Sean, you said, and is that at the core of AI/ML is data, right? As I said, it's the training fuel. Data is the training fuel of any AI/ML application. What you see here is the journey of data from its raw state to an intelligent AI/ML model, right? And that's what constitutes an AI/ML lifecycle. And you will see that most infrastructure solutions or storage solutions are designed for specific stages of this cycle, right? So for example, you can do this high compute processing in the cloud, and then you can have some smaller appliances deployed at the edge, right? So, but what we are saying is that we are trying to consolidate, right? That's our USP. We don't want our customers to rely on multiple vendors for multiple third-party tools because it introduces risks, complexities, inefficiencies. So the idea here is to consolidate as much as possible and reduce both cost and complexity. And NUS or unified storage solution really helps you kind of go through different stages with the same tooling, from data collection, where you collect data from the edge, to data pre-processing, where the data is aggregated at the core data center and cleansed and prepared for model creation, to training and fine tuning, which you can do either on-prem or you can burst into the cloud, as I said, right? To inferencing, and one of the brilliant examples is the GPT in a box solution that you introduced, Sean, right? So it's the idea is similar tooling, common operating models, software-defined stack to do it all. And okay, and finally, I know this is something that is also very close to your heart, Shah, right? We've talked about security, the importance of security, because that's not something that can be overlooked, right? Especially when your data is distributed, it opens it up for more attacks, right? In layman terms. So the biggest risk to AI is data poisoning, as you said, right? Because bad quality data will not only create a bad output or a bad response, but your model can totally go off the charts, right? And your future computation and prediction will also be biased. So security, privacy, and governance are really paramount when it comes to protecting data and models. And as I introduced Data Lens, right, what it does is it's a cyber storage solution. So it's an integrated cybersecurity service within the storage solution. It's not a third-party tool. It's integrated. It provides you global visibility and proactive ransomware defense for all the unstructured data that is stored on the unified storage platform. It helps you with anomaly detection, hour back, deeper data insights, and it helps you with, monitoring, detecting, and blocking any kind of predefined ransomware signature or any anomalous behavior within the first 20 minutes. So I think that is very powerful, because we are saying, yes, you can recover, but the idea is not to just recover. You have to focus on containing that threat window, and that's what it does proactively. So, I mean, all in all, it's, fast, reliable, less prone to human error, and that's what we want. And then I want to just leave you with, how do you get started? That's most important. This is a great, technology stack that we talked about, and we want to make it very easy for you to start, right? So we have the promo right now where you can get started on Data Lens for, a 60-day free trial. If you are completely new to Nutanix and you just want to kick some tires around and, just play with the product, then Test Drive is definitely another great option. And then if you are planning to, onboard onto the Nutanix platform, with every Nutanix cluster, you will get some storage options available, pre-packaged, one tip of storage with every cluster. So please go and try it out. And hear from, what our customers are talking about us. It's a really enterprise-ready, mature product. And we partner with Gartner Peer Insights, where our customers really come out and talk about what they love about the product. And they really appreciate the customer support that Shan was talking about, reinforcing our dedication to just excellent performance in general. So go and check out those reviews. If you are an existing customer, Nutanix or Nutanix Unified Storage, please do scan the QR code and provide your feedback. We love to hear from our customers. We love to hear your experience with Unified Storage or Nutanix in general. So do take the time, scan, and it's very simple. Just provide your feedback to us.
And Tahina, that was amazing. And I hate the fact that our back is against the wall for time. I could talk to you on and on all day long about this stuff. But unfortunately, we are out of time, and we're going to have to throw it back to the studio and back to our host with the most. But Tahina, thank you very much. And everybody out there, we appreciate your time and listening to us today. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thanks to Sean and Tahina for putting together that really informative discussion. So we really appreciate your time today. And for those of you who asked a question, we will make sure that the Nutanix team gets those questions so they can follow up with you. And a quick reminder that this is your last chance to grab those handouts before we close the event in a little less than a minute. But before we do close the event, we have one more piece of business, and that is the Amazon gift card prize drawing. And the winner of the $250 Amazon gift card today is Hubert Fillon Jr. from Alabama. So congratulations to Hubert Fillon Jr. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Nutanix for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.